Hey everybody, it is Malik again, and sorry for the delay of not posting recently, but been working on some new sorts and just playing way too much Destiny. But I'm back here, and we are back in Hellbound Hackers, and we left off the last video. We did 5, 6, and 7. And today I think we'll jump into, we'll see if we can pull off 8, 9, and 10. And maybe we'll get into some different ones, like some pen testing ones or whatever, but I do kind of want to knock these out. So let's go ahead and jump right into these things. But before I do want to thank everybody that has subscribed to the channel. We have surpassed the 1,000 threshold, so I do appreciate everybody that is sticking around and watching the videos and commenting, and as I always say, just let me know if there's any particular thing that you want to see. I can usually pull together some stuff and get that up for you. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into basic web hacking number 8, and let's see what we got. So we got, this time Drake invented a secure PHP and MySQL login so only his family can log in, but the script wasn't as secure as he thought it could be. Okay. Have I done this one? I don't remember if I've done this. This one looks familiar. Okay, so we do have username as Drake. I have to look back to my videos. I don't know if I posted this one. Well, no, I haven't, because it would tell me it's done. Okay, so we got the username. The username is Drake, but only his family can log in, but his script wasn't as secure as he thought. So, great way to always start is to put in a password or leave it blank or whatever and try to log in. Okay, we got wrong SQL query. Let's see if we put in a password. Let's just put in test. Okay. Alright. This is, as a web administrator, this is one thing you never, ever, ever want to show the users. As a hacker, this is one thing that you would always love to see. What you're looking at is the SQL query. The query itself, when you put in a username and a password, and you're using SQL, it turns that username and password into a SQL string, and that's what it sends to the database to verify the username and password is correct. Well, what they're showing you is the line that it sent to the SQL database. The problem is it gave you the name of the SQL database. So, to understand how this works, you can definitely Google SQL commands, but I'll kind of just spell this one out because this one's fairly straightforward. There's 3 main words that you typically always see inside of SQL: select, from, and where. So select star, so select fields, all fields, from family underscore DB. That's the name of the database. Where password equals test. So there's a field called password, there's a column called password in a database called family DB. There's a column called password. and it's verifying. It already knows that the name is Drake, that the password is test, where it tells us the password was not found in the database. Okay, so what we can do with that, if I just kind of back up here, well, let's get back to that. We can do it from here. And again, it doesn't matter what we put in. We can do a couple of things from here. We could try to do a typical SQL injection, where 1 equals 1, but it's not so much needed here because we already have the name of the database. So what you would want to Google is how to do a URL tamper with a SQL string. Okay, and we're going to do it from this page here. Okay, so if we take a look at the page source, and I'll zoom in here, but I'm just going to do a find because I know what it should say. There we go. That's actually the one right there that I want. So let me kind of zoom into that line here. Right here. Okay. And see, it's even written inside of here, because we're on that page. So that's what it pulled. But this is how it does the SQL query. And we could find this in a couple of spots. We can find it on the other page. But you're going to see question mark SQL underscore query. Okay. Well, what we're going to do up here at the top, after, and let me open up Notepad so you can actually see it. Okay. I'm going to just take this and I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it inside of here. So this is what we got. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff. You know that's there. After secure area PHP, we're going to put that question mark SQL underscore query, and then we're going to copy some of this. We don't need all of it, we just need the important part. Equals select everything from family underscore DB. What that should return is all passwords, or actually in a true case it will return the entire database. All we did, we modified their SQL string. Now it could have been modified inside the field too. Sometimes it's just easier to do it inside the URL. So we just queried the database and told it to return everything to us. Now the database was rather empty, it was just that one, but we could have gotten hundreds of passwords from this thing. So now we just put our password in here. King Kong. Submit. And we got through web hacking number 8. Very straightforward one. just a little bit, the beginnings of SQL injections. Alright, starting out good. Let's go to number 9. Okay, with this file search engine, you can search files only on the folder Files, which your administrator has set up for you to search. You can search anything in Files, and if your search was matched, then it would show you the contents of that file. Okay, so it looks like we can search for something, but we also need a username and a password. Alright, so first off, let's see what's in the Files folder. So up at the top, we can just move to the Files folder. Again, I'll bring up my little notepad here. But if you remember, remember directory transversals. So that's our URL right now. Now they told us that we can see things inside of the Files folder. So, if we can see things inside the Files folder, how would you get to the Files folder? Okay. Well, if there's not a link there to immediately take you to it, which in this case it's not, it may take a little bit of work. But typically we're just going to say, alright, I don't want to see the index page. Move me to the Files folder. So let's take a look at that. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I am going to duplicate this tab just so we can do it over here. And I'm going to change this to Files. Okay. So we've got 3 files inside the Files folder. Login, search, search 1. Well, what if we type in search.php? Tell it to search. Okay, you're inside the file. How about search1.php? Couldn't find search1.php. Okay. How about if we go for login.php? Okay, takes us to a login page. So we have to log in. It wants this bottom part. Alright. So we can search files inside of there, but we still can't get in because apparently to get through here we actually have to log in. Well, we don't have a username, we don't have a password. Now, to save you some time, there is no viewing the source code, viewing the page source. It's not going to give you a whole lot when it comes to this. Look for a username. It's all right here. The form action 56 PHP. There's the username. There's the password, because that's a form. There's the folder Files. It runs search.php. That's the page that actually does the search. So that's a form. That's a form. This is a different PHP page. It's known as 56.php. It's basically inline. Alright. So we really want to get in this thing, but without a username and password. But the source code isn't giving us anything. Well, one thing to take a look at is it all goes down to how the developer writes the code. If the developer doesn't know a lot about security, it is possible that you can get in with certain fields still being left blank. Now, this time we couldn't, because when we typed in login.php, it took us to a page that basically asked us for the passwords. But there is a character set. There is a code that we can type in that will basically tell it to ignore anything after that code. So do a little research on PHP and termination codes, and you should come back with something particular. Alright. Now, if you've been looking and you can't find anything, look up null byte, or even more specifically, poison null byte. You should come back with a code. If we put that code at the end of one of the page names, we should be able to bypass that username and password field. Okay, so let me go ahead and do it here. We're still going to do login PHP, because that's the one that took us to the password field. A null byte, same as if you view hex code, %00. That basically terminates. So none of this is going to be read. You're basically telling the database you don't need it. And there we go. Now this one, they must have just put this one up. So I don't know. Let's see what this is. I don't know why they put this up, but I didn't even mean, okay, I just gave this to you. Look at this. Hide this information. Password equals environment and username equals fastlane. Actually, password equals environment, username equals fastlane. Let's see if that works. Is that right? I don't need that one. Let me close that one. And I can close that one. Oh, environment, all lowercase. You are not allowed in here. Yeah, I'm not sure if this one's actually a new one. I haven't seen this part before. Alright, so we got JavaScript, we got password equals environment, username equals fastlane, close the script. Now that right there is a little bit interesting right there. The double equal sign. they got a post actually going on. Let me just make sure I did type it in right. I think I would have, but yeah, okay, I did. And in fact, let's take a look at that page source. Okay, nothing inside there. Nothing else inside of there. And let's just get rid of my little view source here. Oh, let me do that again. Login.php %00. There we go. Alright, so we may have to go back and take a look at some of the other ones. In fact, there may be, and I meant to actually do that with search1.php just to see what that one will return. Okay, and that doesn't actually even trunk it out. How about search.php? Although that is the page we're on anyway. Yeah, doesn't truncate any of those out. Make sure nothing's inside of here. Alright, that's the same. Alright, that's the full page here. In fact, let's do a find. There it is. You're doing good. Continue the second part. Submit search 21. Okay, just Url shout box messages. Nothing big there. Alright. So what I want to see, okay, they don't have anything inside of there. Alright, so what we may have to do on this one is we may have to do, oops, sorry, let me get this out of the way. I mean to bring that over. Get out of the way. Is we may have to do a JavaScript command inside the URL. So we can try to do that. I haven't tried this one. So we can possibly kind of pull it up inside of there. So it's a couple of ways we can do it. Let me see if I have my little page over here. And in fact, it may even, let's see if we can do it the easy way. Let's see, what did they tell us? Password equals environment, username equals fastlane. Kind of backwards too. Kind of weird that they do it. Okay. I wanted to see if they put it up at the very top. Once. And QW3E. Let's see if we get rid of that page. No files inside of there. So that's not a problem. Alright. So. We're going to see if we can inject username and password into the URL. Without having to write like a function. I think I have a list of the one that we could add. Because we don't know if it's technically a logon or what it is, or if we need to get rid of once, but we're going to add it on to the end of it. Let me just see if this works. We're going to say, let's go back to how they do it. Username equals Fastlane. And sometimes. And password equals environment. Okay, so it's not going to solve that away. But that's okay, because let's try to go a different way. Since we've already done one, let's take a look at the cookie that is sent on this page. There's the page. And let's do it. Fastlane. Fastlane and environment. Alright. Now let's take a look at the cookie manager. For this page. Okay, it just passed that. Shows that it was visited. Don't have any other filters inside of there. And this is the once page. Just shows the user and the last visit. And that is this page right here. Okay. So let me see, let me get all my stuff over here out of the way. Alright, so what we're going to do with this username and password, since we know it's Fastlane and environment, we're going to go back to the first part, which is basic 9, and we're going to do it here. See if that's where it's looking at. Fastlane and environment. I think I spelled environment wrong. And let's just see if we can just search with a blank field at the top. There you go. We just had to drill down through the login page to get it. We didn't need it inside that secondary page. It's a kind of a little trick spot there to where they drilled us in deep, but we had to give us something, but we had to come all the way back out to submit it. Yeah, that was a little tricky. Wouldn't have expected to go that deep into a page, but it did kind of take me by surprise when I took a look at the cookie after putting in a username and password and no values were passed. So that page really didn't do much of anything other than give you this information. Alright, interesting. Alright, we'll do one more. Let's go to number 10. The following page can only be seen if your IP range is in the one that is allowed. The HT access stuff is complicated. Alright, so we're definitely dealing with PHP. We're talking about HT access, which is the same as robots.txt when it comes to HTMLs and all. It's pages that are blocked or folders you can get into and folders you can't. But let's see what we get here. Alright, we do not have permissions to access challenges basic 10 admin on the server. Additionally, a 404 not found error was encountered while trying to use the error document. Okay, Apache 1.3.33 over port 80. Let's take a look at the source. Look at this. What we have inside of the source, again, if you've noticed and looked at any of these challenges that we've been doing, the page source gives you a ton of stuff. Our IPs need to be in a range somewhere around 200 to 230 or 23 to 91. So, I imagine some people could probably get right into this thing if they actually happen to have an IP address that was like a 210. They may could actually pass this thing right away. But what if you don't? Like we don't. Okay? So, what we're going to have to do is spoof. We're going to have to spoof an IP address. And we know it told us it had to be between, we'll just deal with the first range, 200 to 230. Probably the easiest way to do this, or the best thing for you to do some research on, because this can come in very handy later on, is how do you set up a proxy on your browser? Okay, and then how can you find a proxy that you can use that's in the 200 to 230 range for the first octet? So do a little bit of research, see if you can find out how to set up a proxy in Firefox, Chrome, IE, Edge, whichever one you're using, And then where can you get a proxy from? And then how do you implement that? Alright, so I'll give you a second there. And while you're doing that, I am going to look it up myself. Okay. So what I have, see if I can pull it out over here. What I have is I just Googled for a free proxy list. And these are the proxies. Now I'm looking for something between 200 and 230. Here we go. Brazil, Colombia, Brazil, Mongolia. Armenia is the US for 209. Now, this is an HTTPS site, so we're probably going to need one that's HTTPS, which is this column here. Let's see, so that one is tested 3 minutes ago, so it works. That's the IP address. That is the port number. And it does allow for HTTPS. So there's two ways we can set this up. If you're using something like Firefox or even Chrome, there are plugins called Foxy Proxy. And what I can do is I can add a proxy. Let me bring up my other page here. I need this open. I'm going to slide it over here for a second. This is, okay, you say HTTP, that's fine. And I'm just going to call this HBH. IP address is 209.50.56.249, and it's going over port number 3128. No username, no password. I could use SSL, but for now we're going to see if it just works with HTTP. I'm going to save that. You can turn it on and off, which is kind of neat with Foxy Proxy. I can turn it on. And if I get back here, the proxy, my information that leaves my machine now with my IP address is going to go to the proxy. It's going to pick up that IP address, and that's what's going to be sent to them. So I now should have the IP address of the HBH that I set up. This one right here should have 209.50.56.249 because I do have it on. Okay, so let's see if that works. Alright, so it still says it didn't work, and that's probably because of the HTTP. I haven't used this version in a while. Hey, no proxy is by default. Let me make sure I'm right. 209.50.56.249, 209.50.56.249, 3128. Tell you what, let me try something else. 212.17.117.221. Oh, this one just goes over port 80. Okay, it is on. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, okay. I didn't think that was going to work. Alright, so let me show you the way that I would do it, because I don't typically use those. So let me kind of trash these, just so it's not there anymore. You can set it up straight from your browser. They're in different places, whether it's IE or Firefox or Chrome or whatever. But typically they're under options. Privacy and security. There's all my exceptions. They've changed. I got a new one in here. I got a new version of Firefox. They kind of changed the location of them, but we will find out where they put them. That's my content blocking, so maybe they just have it under general. All my updates, my browsing is, yep, it's going to be under network settings. There we go. Right now it says no proxy. So if I go to manual, I can type in that one, and we'll try to do that first one that I did. 209, 50, 56, 249, over port 3128. And I'm going to use that for all protocols. So now I'm shooting through them. Again, refresh the page. No, still probably refreshing. It's probably still connecting to my proxy there. There it goes. It's thinking. And that proxy may not work. We'll just have to maybe pick another one. But we'll see if it lets us through. Ah, it did a reset on me because I set up a proxy. Now let's just jump back in and make sure it works. Ah, it actually booted me out. It will do that sometimes when you jump a proxy, because you basically lose internet connection and you jump back in again. It doesn't do it all the time, but oh, you're still not going to let me in. Basic 10 admin. Let me make sure my proxy is set up. And a lot of this could be from where I'm at too. I'm doing this thing from work, and I actually have a proxy where I'm shooting through a proxy, so I may not be able to do it from here, because I do have some settings inside my network that is probably getting rid of my spoof. But we're going to try somebody else. How about we do this one? I'm going to pick a 202.169.238.82 and the standard proxy 8080. Now I wonder if they got to be exactly 200s. I've never really tried it. They may have to be exactly 200s. That's why I like doing these without trying them out first, because a lot of this stuff is trial and error. If this one doesn't work, we will do a 200. I got one right here from Colombia, and we'll see if we can get through that one. All right, see, I did get in, so we can tell the proxy is working. It's a little bit slower, of course, but we know the proxy's working. But if it won't let me through here, ah, there we go. It worked. I just had to pick a particular one that would actually allow me through. So I had to pick, and I actually had to pick 2 of them. So I ended up with a 202 proxy. Now, it does even tell you that you may not have had to use a proxy to bypass. It says, if you did, of course, you just had to check the error. So we got our points for that one. Now, remember, whether you use something like Foxy Proxy or whether you went to your settings for your browser, whichever one you did, make sure when you finish this one and you get your points, you go back in and you take that proxy off. You don't really want to use that proxy for everything. So I'm just going to go back to no proxy. And then I am back all well again. So there we go. So there's 3 of them. We actually did a SQL injection, but through the URL. We did a poisoned null byte, which took us into a page to allow us to view the source of that page so we could get the username and password. And then we just set up a proxy. The proxies is very real life. First off, that's what you'll do to hide your identity. Second off, there are pages out there that only allow you in if you're within a set range of IPs. If you can figure out what that set range of IPs are, all you have to do is find a proxy inside of that range and you'll be able to get in. It's not a matter of just changing the IP address of your local machine, like if you're at home, because the second you hit your router, you're going to change to your routable IP anyway, which is going to be outside of their range. So you definitely want to use a proxy. Don't think you can go into your NIC and change the IP of your NIC to a number that fits their number, because once you hit your router at home, well, in fact you'll really be disconnected from the internet anyway, but once you hit your router at home, you're going to run through natting, and you have a specific IP at your house where all of your machines leave through, and that you can't modify. That's one that your ISP is set up for you. So you do want to use an online proxy that will set that up for you. Well, alright, my friends, sorry it has been so long since I have posted anything, and if I've kind of stumbled around through these, but I didn't want to do these 3 before I jumped in. I really haven't done any of the Hellbound hacker ones until we've gone live, because I kind of want to do them with you. I don't want to do them separate. But I hope you enjoyed these, and look forward to seeing you guys again soon. And who knows, maybe we'll jump into like some pen testing ones or some realistic ones, and we'll switch back and forth through the basic web hackings at the same time. Alright, so until later, my friends, this is Malik, and I am out of here.